What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today. We have an Eagles bye week. We have some good whiskey about to be poured into our glass. We have the year 2023. We have a lot of cool things happening here on the channel. We've got Redwood, Empire, Grizzly, Beast. A lot of good things happening in 2023. I hope you guys can say the same. But in the meantime, before we get started on all of that, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. Beastly. That's right, while some of you are out there doing dry January, we got to keep the reviews rolling here, but we have Redwood Empire. We have done a lot with Redwood Empire recently. We've had the cash strength versions of all of their stuff. We did the Pipe Dream. I love the Lost Monarch. Haven't had the Emerald Giant yet, but this is Grizzly Beast. This is the bottled and bond bourbon that they put out. This is coming to us from a distilling season in 2017. As you may or may not know, if it's bottled and bond, it has to be done in one distilling season. So that was in spring of 2017. This was bottled in the summer of 2022. The lot size is 70 barrels, and this is batch 2. I have not had batch 1. They tell us the mash bill on this, which is nice, at 66% corn, 23% rye, 7% wheat, 4% malted barley, giving us a 4-grain mash bill. And while it has to be at least 4 years old, the bottle also tells us this is 5 years old. Let's get into this. You know the rules: price, taste, drinkability. We always start with drinkability. Let's try it out. So I did mention this is a bottled and bond version of the bourbon because they also put out a bottled and bond rye. That's called Rocket Top, and I'm pretty sure it's like a high rye content, 86 or 87% rye, which is pretty high when it comes to a rye, even for a rye whiskey. This, though, being the bourbon, being 100 proof, being bottled and bond, I would say it sips right about 100 proof. I don't think it drinks under its proof, but I don't think it drinks over the proof as well. If I blinded this, I'd probably put it right at about 100 proof. Normally when we drink at its proof, we give it an 8, but let's take another sip and see what we really think about this. I will say this: if I have an opportunity to buy the Rocket Top, the bottled and bond rye, I absolutely will, only because I haven't really been truly let down by Redwood Empire yet. But for this one, I'm going to say right above an 8. We're talking like an 8.12 when it comes to drinkability on this. I think it drinks right at that 100 proof, but it definitely doesn't drink too much over it. 8.12 seems like a fair spot for this. Up next, we're going to get into taste on this, and I think that's where this bottle truly shines. Now, here's the deal. I always love to look up other reviews after I try it for the first time, just to see if I'm getting the tasting notes I'm supposed to be getting. I went on their website. They obviously give you the tasting notes. I don't think they put it on the bottle here, but they do put it on their website. And the crazy thing is, I got exactly what they were saying on the website, and I love when I do that because I'm still not the best when it comes to the tasting profile. That being said, the first word that I thought of when I sipped this whiskey was bright, and that wasn't always a word that I had in my vocabulary when it came to tasting whiskey, but it just seems that way. It's just one of those things that somebody else said it and then you think about it, and then I finally got to try a whiskey where I was like, that's what he was talking about. That's the word that he was using when he tasted something like this. This is just brightness in a glass. You get a lot of red raspberries on this. You get a cherry note, but it's not like a dark cherry or a medicinal cherry. It's just a bright cherry note. And I love everything about the beginning of this glass, but then we move into the middle and the end, which is just as good. The middle of this glass is just straight up molasses and burnt sugar, that brown sugar, that dark sugar, a lot of those flavor profiles that blend so well with that sweetness on the front, but then it rounds it all out at the end with a little bit of that rye spice. You get that allspice, that pepper, just a hint of oak, which is the way that I love it. This bottle right here is truly what I'm looking for when it comes to a flavor profile. If you pick up this bottle and you try it and you like it, or even if you don't, just know that this is what I'm looking for when it comes to a bourbon. And listen, I understand that everybody's palate's different, and maybe you like something that's a little bit more smoky or oaky, tobacco, leather, something like that. Maybe a little bit more age statement behind this. That's not what you're truly getting here, but for me, I love this flavor profile. I got to give it a really good score. Let's take one more sip and give it a score. Listen, the only true knock that I have for this bottle right here is I think it's a little, and I'm just talking like not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, just a little bit mute when it comes to the flavors. So they're all there, right? They're all fantastic flavors, but I'm almost reaching for them. I'm drinking it and I'm like, there it is. And I take another sip because I'm like, give me more of that. I want it to be a little bit more intense when it comes to the flavor profile. I guarantee you, like I've already done with the cash strength versions of this, it's absolutely fantastic at a little bit higher proof. I think the 100 proof is still a great proof for this, but I will say I'm just reaching ever so slightly for those flavors. I'm going to give it like a 9.17 when it comes to taste on this. I'm not sure if I just referenced not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, but I will say this in my defense. My daughter's almost a year and a half old, and we are reading Three Little Pigs at night, so I do want to put that out there, all right? But let's get into price real quick. This bottle comes in at 90 bucks, but let's talk about it real quick, okay? Because I'm going through this in my head as we go through this video as well. There are a lot of whiskeys out there that are bottled in bond, so we know they're at least 4 years old. Usually if it's bottled in bond, it's not much older than 4 years old, right? There's not 16-year bottled in bond whiskeys out there, at least that I know of. So it's usually around that 4-year mark. This is 5 years. We know they're all 100 proof. They obviously have to pay a little bit more to put bottled in bond in their label because they have to go through the whole federal thing. But at the end of the day, there's like $17 bottled in bond whiskeys all the way up to $150 bottled in bond whiskeys. Do I think that this fits the mold for $90? I got to take another sip and find out. Listen, I do think $90 is a little bit high for this bottle. I would love it in like that $50 price range, right? I think that $90 is truly pushing like the absolute limit of what I would pay for this. I'm glad that I got to try it. I don't know if I would pick it up again for $90. That being said, if they can keep it at $90 for a couple of years, I think the market's going to catch up to $90. And I understand they're a smaller distillery, so they definitely have to make their money now while they can. It's a great bottle. The drinkability we already talked about, fantastic. The taste we already talked about, one of my favorite. But when it comes to price point, it's very hard to compete in the bottled and bond world without being under 50, 60 bucks. So I will say for $90, it's a little tough. I'm going to give it like a... let's say like a 7.92 when it comes to price on this. I can't go much higher than that. I can't put it in the 8s. 7.92 is where we're going to put it. But hey, let's send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week and learn about Grizzly Beast and what that means real quick while we add up these scores. Cheers, y'all. Listen, this is obviously called Redwood Empire for a reason. It's out of California, so we're talking about redwood trees. And this is the combination of two different trees. This is the Grizzly Giant and the Matoli Beast, giving us Grizzly Beast. And let me tell you a couple of stats about these trees real quick. The first tree is the Grizzly Giant, which is the third largest tree in Yosemite National Park. This is almost 3,000 years old. It stands over 208 feet tall. And the craziest thing is it has 2 billion leaves on it. I don't believe that fact. I read it 100 times. 2 billion leaves when it comes to that tree. Listen, 208 feet tall is absolutely crazy to me. I don't think I've ever seen a tree even close to that. I would love to get out to Redwood Empire to see these. The Matoli Beast, which is the other tree, is almost 375 feet tall. That's all the information that I could find on that tree. But those two trees together give us this name right here. And the coolest thing about this bottle is for every one you buy, they plant another tree, which is absolutely something I can get behind. But that's what we've got for this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week. Let's send it back over and see what this scored. I've honestly been like Googling pictures of these trees just to see like 24 people standing hand in hand around the base. It's literally mind-boggling to me. But this bottle came in at an 8.40, a fantastic spot for it. The only thing holding it back is that price point. If they can maintain that price point, maybe add some age, add some proof to this bottle right here, it's going to be a hit. I can promise you that. I will continue to pick up Redwood Empire as I see it in the future because I do think it's that good. But hey, if you've made it this far in the video, make sure you click that like and that subscribe button. Check me out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button over there. Our Patreon link is in the description below. Our Discord link in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly and stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all. Beastly. Did I already say that?